This morning, I'm pleased to welcome Houston Gunn to Shepherd's Grove in the Hour of Power. His voice is a new voice to this generation of entrepreneurs. This high-achieving 16-year-old made his first real estate deal when he was only 13. That's super cool. My first real estate deal is still yet to happen. At the age of 14, he wrote his first book, which is really cool. And that first book is entitled Schooled for Success: How I Plan to Graduate High School a Millionaire. As Houston was writing the book, he garnered the attention of business mogul Donald Trump, who not only endorsed his book, but also granted Houston an interview. So Houston, good morning and welcome today. We want to talk to you a little bit about that. First of all, is Houston Gunn your actual name? That's crazy. Your name is Houston Gunn? It's like so perfect for what you're doing. You're like a comic book character.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. And actually, the most common question, not phrase, because I hear Houston, we have a problem, definitely a lot.
Yeah.
But I always have been asked if I'm from Texas, but I'm originally from Seattle, Washington, where my book takes place. And it will be 2 years here coming up. I've since moved to Nashville because I'm also a musician.
Yeah, awesome, great. Well, tell us a little bit about this. First of all, how close are you to being a millionaire?
Well, I'm on track and I get closer every day.
You think you're gonna hit it?
Planning to.
Okay. Remember, Shepherd's Grove is a nonprofit organization and you can receive tax-deductible donations. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your role model and maybe mentor. Tell us a little bit about who this person is and how this...
Well, I've had a lot of role models who maybe have not yet met, but I really tried to base because I've liked what they've done and I've liked what they've accomplished. But I've had very great mentors and people who've inspired me, and I'd say 2 of them are actually here today, and they're my mom and my grandma, and they've really been one of the big motivations that have inspired me to keep me going.
That's awesome. Great. And so tell us a little bit about your book. You wrote a book. I mean, you're 16 now. You wrote it when you were 14. You knew how to write when you were 14, which is already kind of cool, and our school system is...
Well, there's a story that's shared in my book about how you have to read and get in-depth about the story, but I ended up failing 9th grade English, so it shows that you don't have to pass English to write a book.
Yeah. We call them ghostwriters in the industry.
I actually never knew about that.
Yeah, that's too bad. It makes it much easier. So you wrote a book, and what's the book about?
Well, the whole message of the book is to inspire, educate, and excite entrepreneurship in youth and future generations. And although entrepreneurship may not be for everyone, everyone should have the opportunity to experience being an entrepreneur. But it's all about really just finding your passion and striving to...
Well, what do you mean by that? Everyone should know what it's like being an entrepreneur, even though entrepreneur is not for everybody. It seems like...
Well, it's kind of like food. You don't know if you don't try it.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, anything has, I mean, almost all sorts of achieving goals and this type of thing that we want to do. Achieving goals, setting goals, you know, having dreams, all of that has to do in a way with entrepreneurism. Being a pastor is entrepreneurial, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Being a stay-at-home mom can have some entrepreneurial elements to it, I think.
Absolutely. If you really go into everything, there's always some sort of entrepreneurial motive in everything.
Let's talk about Donald Trump. What's Donald Trump like?
He is one of the nicest and most personal people I've ever met. He is really open, and obviously he's not what you see on TV most of the time because also it's sometimes done for ratings, but he was one of the nicest and most personal people I've ever met. And he shared me 2 keys of advice, but unfortunately I'm not going to share them because I like to take it upon me that he told it from him to me. So I'd like to maybe later on in my life hold on to it and then share it on to somebody that's in my shoes when I'm at this age.
Awesome, that's great. And of course you can put that in a book and that'll help you get closer to that $1 million mark.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, maybe when we go backstage you can tell me and I can tell everybody. But, no, that's awesome though. And so he said yes to this interview, and where was it? Where'd you do it?
Well, the interview was actually conducted via email, so it could be transferred straight into text. So actually when I went up to meet him, it was actually not too long ago. That was the first time actually meeting him in person, but it was really left all open and stay in contact and everything.
So he just poured into you and invested in you and encouraged you and...
I was actually surprised because believe it or not, when I was getting interviews for my book, I sent out over 100 requests to well-known entrepreneurs, athletes, business people, and Donald Trump was my first and only response.
Yeah, wow, that's great. Maybe we should get him up here as an interview guest. Maybe he'll say yes, I don't know.
You just have to ask, and that's really how it all got into it, is I just started asking for what I want, and that's actually one of the keys that I like to share in my book, and I want to share to everyone, is you can't be afraid to ask, and you always have to ask, because I like to say being told no is better than not knowing at all. And
Wait, say that again. I mean, that's really a great principle.
well, being told no is better than not knowing at all, because when you ask, you have the chance of being told yes, but you also have the chance of being told no. So you can't be afraid to take the risk of asking, because you never know, it could get you an endorsement from Donald Trump.
Yeah. So asking is like a big part of your message and your philosophy then.
Absolutely, that is a big thing. Without it, I wouldn't be here today. And with that, I'd also like to ask everyone today to check out my book, as I'll be selling them out front. And I'm doing a special here today where for all the people in the audience, it'd be $10 a book. And for everyone viewing, I know it plays in multiple countries, you can get, for your language, you can get it ebook on Amazon for your Kindle. And then if you just want to get it up, you can get it on Amazon, or you also could get a signed copy on my website, HoustonGunn.com.
And last question, this one's an important one. Tell us about your faith. I mean, because you're 16 and you have all of these goals that are like kind of financial and monetary, but we're in church, you know? And,
Yeah.
And how does your faith play into everything?
Well, I've grown up and I've been raised in a Lutheran church, and I was baptized, and I went
Lutherans always have the most money, by the way. It's a little secret of the industry.
And I grew up, I was baptized, and I went through confirmation. And one thing that I've really started to really decide about heavily, and I've really started to observe now that I've got all these financial goals and everything, is one thing that I'm trying not to, and I always know, because after all the money settles, and whether you're millionaire or you're bankrupt, the three things that will always be with you is faith, family, and friends.
That's great. Well, thank you, Houston. We're looking forward to following your story. His book
Thank
is
you.
Schooled for Success. Let's give him a hand. Thank you, Houston, for all you're doing. God bless you and your work.
Thank
All the
you.
best.